Assalamu alaikum dear students, welcome all of you in our new lecture, lecture 3. My dear students, in our previous lectures, in our previous two lectures, we started different techniques which are used in the cell biology and different techniques we discussed in our previous lectures. In today's lecture, my dear students, we will discuss a very important technique which is called as electrophoresis. Hope that you will understand and you will give your proper attention. So my dear students, topic is electrophoresis. The electrophoresis is the combination of two words, electro being electrical and phoresis being separation. So by definition, the technique which is used to separate charged molecules according to their size, this technique is called as electrophoresis. It is also called as gel electrophoresis because the medium used in the electrophoresis is usually we put agarose or polyacrylamide gel, and this technique is mainly used to separate charged particles like DNA, like RNA and protein. So it is clear that what is the definition of the electrophoresis, but the question arises in the minds of the students that why we need to separate the molecules on the basis of the charges. So my dear students, they are used in molecular genetics for the visualization of DNA and RNA, and especially DNA fingerprinting. In DNA fingerprinting, what we do in the forensic sciences also it is used when a crime or an accident usually happen. So usually the forensic team collect the DNA samples from the concerned location. When they collect the DNA samples, then they process them, which help in the identification of the person, along with in criminal procedures. In criminal procedures, it is used to identify the criminal. We will solve a criminal case also here. And in DNA sequencing. DNA sequencing is a technique, is a mechanism which is used to study the sequences of the DNA and to study where are the genes located, because the genes are located on the DNA, we all knew that. So the mechanism, I am coming to the mechanism, the charged molecule should be broken into pieces first. If we want to separate the DNA and RNA molecules, first we need to break them into pieces. The breaking can be performed by mainly two methods are applied in today's world. One is called a single Colson chain termination method, in which DD and PPs, nucleotides, special nucleotides, are used to break the DNA in the concerned pieces. And we also have another method of chain termination, which is through Maxam-Galbert model, in which different chemicals are used to break the DNA into pieces. Then we have to take a gel plate, in which we have agarose gel or polyacrylamide gel, and we have to connect this plate with two terminals of the battery with positive and negative terminals. The molecules will move to the opposite charged ends. We know that opposite charges attract each other. So my dear students, the small molecules will move faster because their size is, they have small size, so they will move faster. And this polyacrylamide gel is permeable, having pores which allow the movement of the DNA molecule. Now let's come to this diagram, we connected this whole plate with two terminals of the battery, and this is the anode, positive charge, and cathode, the negatively charged. So if we are putting DNA here, and we want to separate the DNA fragments, so we will put the DNA fragments in this gel plate. So the DNA molecules usually have negative charge. RNA and DNA are negatively charged. So they will tend to move towards the positive plate because we know that the opposite charges attract each other. And look, the small pieces will move faster as compared to the large one, and we will get this plate. Now the next step is autoradiography. We should take the X-ray image of this plate, which will be used further on, or even we can take a piece of DNA from here and we can further study it. It is mainly used in the DNA fingerprinting, and I told you that we will solve one case also. So let's study a criminal case, or on the basis of the gel electrophoresis technique. We will use gel electrophoresis technique and we will try to solve a criminal case, DNA fingerprinting. So let's discuss. For example, we have a criminal case. There is a murder. There is a murder in this room. In this room, there is a murder. So the DNA samples the two DNA samples are obtained from this room. In the DNA, we got two DNA samples, in which one is the victim DNA. This is the victim DNA, the person who was killed. And this is the DNA sample which is definitely of the killer. So the killer DNA sample is subjected for the killer DNA sample is subjected for chain termination, and this DNA is broken into pieces. We also have some suspected peoples whose DNA samples we have. For example, we have three persons. Person A, person B, and person C. We want to find out that whether this criminal person, this killer person, belongs to these suspected people or not. So what we will do, for example, this is killer's DNA. This is suspect 1, suspect 2, suspect 3. We have here DNA samples, they are broken. The killer's DNA samples should be put in here. And electrical current will be applied. The double filament. Okay, my dear students, now you can identify that who is the killer, A, B, or C. So look at the similarity between the C suspect and the killer. Look at the similarity. It means that suspect C is the killer. The result is suspect C is the killer. So the case is solved. What technique we used here? We used gel electrophoresis, and through gel electrophoresis we separate different DNA fragments which have given us a clear idea about the killer. This technique, gel electrophoresis, is also used in the DNA sequencing. In the DNA sequencing, usually we want to find out the sequence of the DNA, and the same mechanism we do. We separate them through gel electrophoresis, and then these separated pieces are studied further on. So my dear students, it was all about gel electrophoresis and the application of the gel electrophoresis. Hope that you got good understanding. Now we will move towards chromatography. Okay, dear students, let's discuss another technique which is used in the cellular biology. This is chromatography. Chromatography is a technique which is used used to separate the different chemical compounds into different fractions. First, it was used to separate only colored pigments. The different pigments were being separated on the basis of chromatography. But in today's world, chromatography is widely used in phytochemistry, and now this is a collective technique used by the chemistry and biology. It is very important in the biochemistry. This is the technique which is used to separate the dissolved substances which are present in a solution. Now, what is the importance? It is used to identify new compounds in a mixture. What is this? If we get, for example, we get a compound from the plants. We will take an example. For example, we have this plant and we want to find out that what compounds are present in the leaves of this plant. So we will take the leaves of this plant, we will dry them, and then we will grind them, then we will dissolve them in different organic solvents, and then it should be subjected to the chromatography, and in chromatography will tell us that how many different compounds are present in this leaf. Now, it is also used to separate drugs from the blood samples and urine. It is very important that sometimes we want to separate different type of drugs from the blood and urine samples. So this technique is very helpful. It's usually of two types: paper chromatography and column chromatography. First, let me tell you paper chromatography. In chromatography, basically we have two phases. One is called stationary phase, which is immovable, and another is mobile phase, which is movable. In paper chromatography, we get a paper which is called as chromatography paper. In that chromatography paper, we also use the filter paper also as a chromatography paper. In chromatography paper, this paper is actually the stationary phase. What we do, we put, for example, we want to find out what are the different compounds present in the black ink. So we put it a drop of black ink on this paper and we let them to dry. It is very important that we have to let it to dry. And in the next phase, what we will do? We will do that we will put some organic solvents on it. For example, I am putting acetone. So when I put few drops of acetone here, it will start, by the capillary action, it will start to expand further, and it will be divided into different colors. And on the basis of the colors, then we can say that this is that compound or this is that compound. Usually in the plant leaves, if we take the plant leaves extract and we want to find out that what are the different type of compounds present in the plant leaf extract. So we, first of all, we put a drop here, we let them to dry, and then we put acetone droplets and it spread by the capillary action mechanism, and it is broken into different colors, and on the basis of the color we can say this is, here we have chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, or if we have carotene, so we can identify. So this is a technique which is used to separate different kind of chemical substances on the basis of their color. Now the next type is color chromatography, which is quite different from the paper chromatography. In paper chromatography, there was no way to isolate, to obtain different type of compounds, but rather than we just identify them. In column chromatography, we take a column. This is a column. This is called a column, and in this column, we take stationary phase, same stationary phase also here in mobile phase. But this time the stationary phase is used as agarose gel. Agarose gel is put in here. Agarose gel. And it is very important that we have to keep the level of the agarose gel very accurate. Then we load the sample. For example, sample is a plant extract and we want to separate different kind of drugs, different type of compounds, different type of alkaloids that are present in the sample. So we will load the sample. Then we will put the mobile phase. The mobile phase first, for example, I want to separate the water soluble compounds from the sample. So when I will put the water, the sample, the water soluble compounds which are present in the sample will start goes down, and the small pores which are present in the agarose gel, they will allow the movement of these compounds, and simply we will take those compounds which are water soluble. Then we can change the medium stationary, the mobile phase, and we should put organic solvent. So different organic solvents, different organic compounds which are soluble in organic solvent will come down and we will separate them. It is very important, especially nowadays, pencil column chromatography is used. Pencil column chromatography, the columns are now very thin type of columns are used. It's a very time-taking technique, but it is very important for the discovery of the new compounds. How? For example, I am collecting compounds from the sample, and I am checking their properties, and they are existing. But suddenly we got a compound whose properties are not matched with any known compound. So what we will do? Then we will do further investigation, XRD, and different other techniques are used to identify whether it is a new compound or whether it is existing compound. If it is a new compound, then its chemical properties, then its physical properties, then its if we can use it as a drug or not, and it can show antibacterial, antiviral or any kind of activity it is using or not. So it is a way by which we can, it is a mechanism by which we can even discover new compounds also. So hope that you got the good idea of the chromatography. Chromatography is used for the separation of different kind of the chemical compounds. Hope that you got the good idea of the chromatography. My dear students, inshallah, in our coming lecture, we will focus on few other techniques which are left, and then we will start the cellular organelles. Hope that you got good idea. Stay blessed, stay safe. Allah Hafiz. Thank you so much.